Hey, good morning guys. Welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to the channel, Busted Radio Garage. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Today we're going to get back on Homer. I think this is like episode 8, but we're going to get going on the disassembly of Homer's rear end here. We're going to try to go ahead and get these old bushings removed, get all this cleaned up and ready for the new bushings. So we're going to remove all these old drum brakes, brake lines, get all this cleaned up and get ready for our new disc brake conversion. Now I was gonna go ahead and get ready for Homer's new 4-link from RideTech, but that looks like it's gonna be 2 to 3 months out. So we do not have that kind of time because he's gonna have to try to be on the track sometime the end of April. Oh, I'm sorry, the 1st of April. So we've got roughly 3.5 months to get Homer done, and that is gonna be the rest of the rear end, get that motor done if it ever decides to get here, get the cage done, get all the seats put in, the fuel cell, battery, all the brake lines run. I mean, it's just a mountain of a list, and we just don't have the kind of time to be waiting on that parts right now. So in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and use this and get it as ready as we can. These old shocks are gonna come off. We have some new shocks coming from QA1, so at least we'll have that. Get again the new bushings from Energy Suspension put in. Going to go ahead and change the rear end in here to 411 gears, so we'll get those put in and then put this all back in, get the new brake on, so on and so forth, and just make the best of the situation for what it is. Let me get everything set up and we'll get going on this real quick. All right guys, what I like to do on these old rubber bushings is they can be a booger to come out. So what I generally do is I just apply a little bit of heat to the spring itself and a little bit to the bushing. Now in doing that, you got to be real careful, because what you don't want to do is compromise the strength of the steel itself. So you don't want to get this red hot or let the heat sit on there for an extended period of time. You just want a little bit of heat to loosen up this rubber a little bit, and then these should pop out. So give me a second, I'm going to heat up these real quick and see if they'll come out for us. What I just generally use is just a little old, just like your normal Lowe's, Home Depot map gas tank. That should be enough. There you go, just like that. Just take those and throw them away. There it is. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Funny enough, that side didn't even have one in it. But there it is, so we'll go ahead and get rid of those. All right, as you can see, we've got all those old bushings out. So what we'll do is we'll just take a wire brush or some type of steel wool or some attachment that goes in my drill, and we'll get all this cleaned out on both sides. Get all that old rubber and rust and whatever out of there. And like I've said before, let me walk over here. We have all the new bushings for those springs sitting here, and these are from Energy Suspension. Same thing I used on the front of Homer there for the body bushings. So I'm not going to jam these in here till I get them cleaned up, but essentially these are just going to press in here like so. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And that'll help us out for the performance of these springs for the rear end of Homer. Now these shouldn't stay on here that long. If I had to wait a couple months to get the new 4-link, so be it. But I'm not gonna put this whole car on stop, you know, especially when I have this I can use. Hopefully it just doesn't blow apart. All right, well, hang tight a second. We'll go ahead and get this front tore apart and see what we got to do there. Get these shocks off, get these brake lines removed. I'm not gonna be super particular about these because again, they're not gonna go back on. We're going to be putting the new Willwood disc brake setup back here, but I do want to get all this cleaned up and painted before I put it back in the car. And then of course we have to get the rest of the underneath of Homer cleaned up and POR 15 that, and then we'll ultimately slide this back in, and that's going to be the end of it for now. All right, hang tight a second. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and get these removed and check the bushings here, and then ultimately we'll get all this cleaned up, painted, and put back on. Alright. Actually, these bushings don't look too awful bad. We may end up leaving those in there. I'll go ahead and check the other side to make sure. Because again, we're not going to be using this very long. We're just going to use it enough to get through hopefully the first couple events this season. And then during a lull or a break, we can come home, swap out the 4-link. All right, again, these bushings look really good. So I think at this point, I may just go ahead and clean this up and save on these for now. But we'll kind of see what happens as we go. But at the end of the day, those are off. We'll go from there. Hang tight a minute. All right, guys, for the rest of this, we're going to go ahead and get rid of the shocks. We're going to go ahead and remove all the brake lines that come over to the brakes. Get those out of the way. We're going to go ahead and remove the drum brakes themselves. Get those gone. Check our axles. We're going to go ahead and take the cover off the back of this rear end. Check our gears. I mean, they're ultimately going to come out anyway. And then I think at that point, we're going to go ahead and wire wheel this whole assembly down. Get it painted or cleaned and painted, and then we'll get ready for our new shocks and essentially put everything back together. So we have new shocks, new brake lines, the new disc brake setup from Willwood back here, and then install our new bushings. And while all of this is drying, and then we'll go ahead and get the rest of the underneath the car wire wheel clean, and then we'll put the POR 15, get all that old bracketry, everything, all that mess out of it. Then we'll POR 15 the entire bottom of the car, slide this back in, and then essentially just run our brake lines up to our new master cylinder proportioning valve, and then I think we're just going to be ready for the motor if it ever gets here. And in the meantime, if we're still waiting, then we'll go ahead and get the car set for its cage, seat, harnesses, fuel cell, battery, etc. Get all that ready. But just piece at a time, step at a time, as we can get parts here. So hang tight a minute. We're going to go get these shocks off, and we'll start disassembling all of this. All right, let's go. All right, there's shock number one. And those of you who've been watching for a while, you know that these shocks are brand new. There's literally no miles on them. So we're gonna set these up in our inventory and we'll use them for another car down the road. I'm not gonna throw away something that's perfectly brand new. All right, let's get the other one off. All right, there's the other one. All right, we'll go ahead and get these brake lines removed, get this out of the way, and there's gonna be no use for this anymore. Do our absolute best to save the existing brake line mounts so we can run right back through those into our new brakes rather than have them trying to fiddle fart around to create something else. All right, let me get these bolts off. Those of you that do not have one of these Milwaukee impacts, I have this one and I also have the smaller one, Milwaukee Fuel. I highly recommend these, especially if you're doing what I'm doing here, or many of us do, and that's working in the shop on one of these. Air compressors are nice and air tools are awesome. I love them, but nothing beats something that's just right here. Just a side note, whenever you're using something like this, beforehand, make sure you lube up everything real good with some PB Blaster or something of that nature. You just don't want to, full disclosure, just go into here and start using this to snapping bolts off everywhere. That's no fun for anybody, I promise you. These come loose, I'll be impressed. Without snapping them cylinders off. Looks like I might get lucky. Again, full disclosure, I lubed these up pretty good over the process of the last couple of days, so I didn't have any issues. But I still may get unlucky and it snap off on me here. I'm not sure. Again, I don't care if it does, because it's not like they're going to go back on here. Wow, what are the odds of that? 40 some years. But that one's out. Let's see if we can get this other side loose. Good thing about working on a rear end or something like this on jack stands is this. I mean, you can just move it wherever you need it. Oh, mercy. Don't know how well this side's going to work out for us. I think this side might shear off. See how lucky we get. Yeah, I think this one's just going to break. No big deal. It does, it does. Alright, there's that side. So now what I like to do on these little tabs in the back is take a little flathead screwdriver and just gently pry them up. And then when you go to paint, you can get on both sides of those. Put your new brake lines in, just fold them over real nice and easy. and you're set to go. Let me get a flathead. I got one laying right up here real quick. Not sure if you can see that, I doubt it, but just simple as that. I mean, you're prying them up just enough to get the old brake lines out. If you got to, you can apply just a hair of heat to them, but they're generally pretty easy to just pry out of the way. All right, and just like that, that whole unit's out. So we'll end up getting this this new diverter piece here that splits it off into 2 lines that run into the main line itself. We'll get that new, but I'm gonna go ahead and save on this for now, make sure I get the right piece. So we'll just set this over here out of the way. Or throw it over there out of the way. Whatever works for you in your shop. All right, so I guess next we're gonna go ahead and get rid of these old brakes, get these out of the way. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get these old brake drums removed and out of the way. And because we're not gonna be needing them anymore. So let's get this all removed. We'll do the same on the other side and get this set up for the new disc brakes. I know I've said this a million times before, but I always save all of my nuts. Don't be weird. Keep them back on my bolts. That way, if I ever need them again, they're there. So I'm not running around here looking for anything. Now, these actually look pretty decent, to be honest with you. I'm sure that big roll and burnout I did right before I parked Homer cleaned up everything pretty good in here. But we'll go ahead and set this off to the side. And get rid of all this nastiness. We ain't gonna need it no more. All right, well, let's get after it. All right, guys, you're gonna see a lot of these channels out there, or mechanics, whatever, tell you you need all these special tools to do this and that and the other. A pair of vice grips or a pair of pliers will do the exact same thing. Never been a firm believer in going out and buying $1 million tools if you could do the same thing with a cheaper tool. And I get it if you do this every day for a living. You want high quality stuff, kind of like that Milwaukee Impact my wife just bought me for my birthday. Granted, that's a lifesaver and you could take it with you anywhere you need to go, to the track or at your home or whatever. But I mean, if you can do it another way, do it another way. And if you're just changing your brakes and you want to adjust or change your springs or put new springs or a new rebuild kit or anything of that nature, make sure to take plenty of pictures of this. There's nothing wrong with it. Doing crap like this, it's going to be hard to remember where everything goes. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and pull out the 10 bolts for the rear. See what we got as far as rear end oil. See if there's anything in there at all. I'm not sure. I doubt it. Get that unpinned and we'll go ahead and pull the axles out and go from there. Hang tight. Oh yeah, she got plenty in there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let this drain for a couple minutes and I'll be right back with you guys. Hang tight. Like I said a while ago, guys, you don't need a big fancy tool. You can do this with just a simple pair of channel locks. I'm gonna go ahead and get these springs, get this all disassembled real quick, and then we'll go ahead and pull the axles, get that out of the way, get ready to start pulling the rear end. Hang tight a second. All right, guys, got everything taken apart here with the exception to the axles and the rear end. Let me spin you around, show you what we got going on real quick, and then we'll go from there. All right, got the brakes, the drums completely torn apart. Got this ready on both sides. Here's the pile of mess. It'll just go in a tub I got over there with the regular parts. We'll save on everything for now. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this unbolted real quick. We'll slide the axles out on both sides. We're gonna save those for now until later on. We'll see what happens when we go to put the 4-link and all that in. But for now, we're gonna reuse as much of this as we can. If we tear it up, we tear it up, no big deal. So give me a second. I'll get you in here. We'll get this unbolted, get the axle slid out, and get this tore out. And we'll start getting this all ready to be cleaned and painted. All right, hang on a second. All right, guys, we're ready to go ahead and get these axles and this rear end removed. Let me get you in here real quick, show you what we're gonna do. So what we've got is our axles are C-clips. C-clip mount axles, okay? So what we got is we've got a little 8mm bolt that we're gonna have to loosen up and remove. It'll back out this way. And then we have the side pin or the drop pin, which runs through the differential here and locks in the two axles, okay, which are right here and here. And those are locked in place with C-clips or C-pins, however you want to put it. So what we'll do is we'll take this little bolt here out, right here, remove this pin, drop it out, and what it's going to do is going to leave this gap between the axles here and here. So once we drop this pin down, we'll push in from the left and from the right of the axles, and once we do that, the C-pins or clips are going to fall out, and we'll be able to pull the axles away from the differential altogether, okay? And then process these two spider gears are also going to fall out. So let me get you set up here real quick. We'll go ahead and pull this bolt, this pin, and we'll get the axles out, get ready to remove this whole assembly for our new rear end. All right, hang tight a second. All right, guys, I hope we got you in here close enough you can see, but we're going to go ahead and pull out this little retainer bolt here that's holding in this pin, and then we'll be able to go ahead and get that pin removed and get these axles pushed forward so we can get these C-clips out of the way. And in the meantime, those spider gears should fall out, and we'll be able to go on from there. All right. You can see that, but there's the little pin. So we'll go ahead and set it down here for a second and see if we can reach around on the back side of this differential, start pushing this pin out. All right, there comes the pin. Okay. I'll set this bolt and this pin together here real quick. Now, I'm going to go over here and push this axle in, but when I do, when I push this in, you should see this axle come in from left to right. And in turn, those spider gears are probably going to fall, but what we're mainly worried about is getting this pin out, okay? Should move in about an inch. Just keep an eye on it, let me know what it does. Okay, there came in the axle. All right, so our clip went ahead and fell. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Okay. Now our other clip went ahead and fell. Get this goop off here. Not sure if you can see that, but there is the C-clip, or the C-washer, C-pin, whatever. Set that down in there for now. All right, hang tight for a second. I'm gonna leave you live going here, and I'm gonna go ahead and go pull one of these axles out. And I'll spin you around and we'll pull the other axle out. All right, I know you can't see me, but you can hear me. There goes one axle. All right, let me take you over here and set you up, and we'll go ahead and pull this other axle. All right, that ought to be close enough for you all to see. So we'll go ahead and grab this axle. Pull it out. All right, we'll just set it right up on the lugs itself there. All right, take you back around here. Where you were a second ago. Some of them tools out of the way. All right, hope you can see. Now I'm gonna try to rotate this forward and go ahead and get the rest of our tool, or the rest of our clips out of here. That other C clip's in here somewhere. Now we'll get to it when we clean all this out, but nevertheless, these spider gears are gonna fall out. So here comes one spider gear. There's the other. All right. So now what we're gonna work on is getting the rest of this differential loose and getting it out of here. And we'll start working on getting ready for our new rear end. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and shut you down here for a second, and I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, guys, here's our rear axles after they've been removed. For the most part, they look okay. They're gonna need a really good cleaning, but our teeth are in really good shape. No real evidence of it being on being without oil and getting all hot. Same thing with this other side. Really good shape. Teeth look okay. So I think what we're gonna do is just gonna follow the plan until we go with the 4-link. We're just gonna go ahead and use everything we can here. For the burnout competitions, as long as we can keep the tires spinning, I think we're gonna be okay. I don't think we're gonna cause any damage to the axles or the rear end themselves. Now for the drag racing portion of it, we are obviously gonna have to beef this up a little bit. For now, I think I'm just gonna stick with what we got until we can do it all in one shot. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is get all of this pressure washed and cleaned, grind it all down real good. I've got new end links, So I might as well just go ahead and put those in this. May as well, right? And so once I get this pressure washing cleaned, we'll start getting this ready for the disc brake conversion. Get all of this done, get these removed, and then get it all painted and put back together. But I think that's just going to be it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get all this cleaned up, get the shop straightened back up. But figured I'd bring you along for the ride for that. That's actually, you know, some pretty cool stuff. Some of you may or may not have known that or what to do. So if that helps you, awesome. That's what we're here for. But while that is all drying after paint, getting ready for the reassembly, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is get back under here. And like in the last video, I showed you everything underneath the trunk's brand new. It's done, but we really need to attack all of this. I mean, these old exhaust brackets need to be taken down, cut out. The old, you know, the old brake lines. Again, emergency brake cable or parking cable. Yeah, I'm not gonna have any use for that. So I'm just gonna get rid of that entire mess and try to get all of this pour 15 and cleaned up. I mean, when you're under here working on these things at either your shop or the track, you know, you don't want a bunch of dust and rust and crap in your eyes. So we're gonna go and get us cleaned up nice. Might do a pour 15 with a bed liner. You know, what is that? Bed liner paint. Do that over top of it, kind of give it some more protection, especially for rocks or what have you. I mean, I'd really like to do a couple of road course events with this, which I think would be really cool. And we'll just keep updating Homer all on the way for that, because I want this to be the car we use for the trifecta, if that makes sense. You know, track, road course events, burnout competitions. Just don't want dedicated for one single thing. So, you know, make what we need swappable. If we need to adjust the suspension, that's what we're going to use QA1 for. You know, we can adjust their suspension a little bit and go from there. But anyway, if you haven't done it already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there daily. If you want to leave a comment on the YouTube channel or even the other two forums, I mean, I respond to everybody the best I can. Other than that, thanks for watching. Y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Talk to you later.